going on, everybody? All right, it's Eric here. So we are done with the month of January. I wanted to just do this little last month recap trade for you guys of the 3 trades that I took, the 2 with KSCP and TKLF. 2 out of 3 trades for a couple of grand. It's not bad. I'm not going to complain. But the importance of you guys looking at this trade, what I want you to kind of notice is how 2 different strategies work for, the same stock. For those of you who have the course and understand my particular strategy that I use, that I made for myself, this is a prime example of how, to wait for your strategy to come to you and not force it. So I'm breaking down like the inside of how I'm looking at the stock, why I picked the stock, and just kind of going over the exit points and what to look for, when to exit the trade. This video is just going to put all of that in a nutshell, plus the more stuff that I show you in the course that you should take into consideration when you're trading. So understand that. Those of you who don't have the course, you don't got to worry about it. If you are a trader that has your own trading style, it's still a great trade to review. If you took it, definitely be reviewing your trades. The month of January, to be honest with you, wasn't the best way to kick off, 2022, but it was a green one for us nonetheless, especially with today, the way we ended it. I can't ask for nothing better, because other places and, chat rooms and things I've seen, people have been getting crushed. But this is the reason why I try to show you guys exactly what day trading is, why you want to, get in and get out of your trades the same day. But you definitely want to make sure, your strategy works for you as a trader. So for those of you who survived the month of January, kudos. Even if you just sat on your hands, that's great discipline. You will need that in this market. Stocks won't always go up. You got to be able to profit on the downside too. And this was a great month for you guys to see that. So if you didn't have the chance to review any of the videos this month, definitely go and look at them. I'm just showing you guys how this is done on a daily basis. And you spend 3 or 4 hours a day either making a couple $100 or a couple $1,000 and going about your day and taking care of business. So that's what trading is about. Those who are focused and committed to trading, this is how it ends up being once you get over that hump and get knocked down a couple times. All right, so guys, take a look at this video. Let me know if you have any questions, and from here on out, hopefully February will be a much better month. The little sweepstakes contest I got coming out for you guys will be posted in the group, in the Facebook group, and it'll also be posted on the Instagram page. So you guys go check that out, find out how to enter and all that good stuff, because I want to keep you guys motivated on learning this stuff and getting better at it. And all right, guys, what's going on? It's Eric here. I wanted to quickly do this recap video here for you guys, just to kind of show you pretty much how 2 of my strategies work in one play. For today, as you guys seen in the group, pretty much KSCP was the only trade I took today, aside from TKLF, which didn't plan out the way I thought it would, and so I cut my losses shortly. So I'm gonna go over actually both of those trades for you guys. Really, for me, TKLF was just bad timing. I didn't really think that one through, but KSCP worked out well, both strategies that I use. And for those of you guys who had the course, whatever, familiar with these 2 strategies I'm going to go over, because they are listed in there, that I use. Okay, so let's kind of break those down here real quick so you kind of see what I was looking at, and just kind of give you guys a little bit more insight on the trade that I took today. So this one will be a really quick video. Hopefully it won't be too long, because most of the stuff I go over you should already you already know, or if you have your own type of strategy, which hopefully you do, you kind of know what to look for as well too. Okay, so let's get into it. So pretty much, as you guys know, let me actually pull it up here. Both KSPC and TKLF was on the watch list. Okay, so that was kind of a heads up gimme from last night to kind of be watching these stocks, right? Like I tell you guys all the time, just because they're on the watch list, doesn't mean you need to be trading them, but you definitely just want to watch them for some, entries and exits that you might be able to get. And, just so happened, these things delivered. Even TKLF, even though I took a loss on it, I just played it wrong, which is perfectly fine.
So let's kind of go into, these trades and these alerts here real quick. Let me start with TKLF because that'll be a little bit easier. Since that was since I only took one trade with it. Um, to be honest with this thing here, I really just got caught chasing. Um, because the alert went off about it. I looked at it. I actually jumped in like right here and kind of got a little too greedy. Um, as you can see, it had a volume spike, at 384. So I looked at it and then it jumped to 427. I'm like, okay, it might run a little bit more. I wasn't really paying attention to level two. I should have. But even if I wasn't, these candle indications here are kind of telling me that this thing is getting stocked out. Um, especially if you don't, know your candlesticks, guys. Definitely want to study those because they'll teach you a lot about price action if you feel like you're not good at looking at level two. A lot of your indicators and stuff like that is just you seeing the same thing in a different light, which is why I tell you guys all the time, you want to find out what indicators or, what movement in the market fits you best that you can easily read, that you can play to your advantage, because that's what's going to make a big difference for you. It took me a long time to find that out. I thought I had to use the same indicators that whoever's teaching me is using, or stick with this only because they're successful, so I'm going to use what they're using, and which is going to make me successful. That's not how it works, guys. Just because I use MACD, RSI, and all these other indicators doesn't mean you need to use it. You can use things like Fibonacci and all these other indicators that might help you out, or do whatever you need to do to find your edge. Okay, so just keep that in mind. But anyways, so I entered in this one on the alert because I figured it had room to run. I just kind of got caught up in this thing at a bad point, and then it just pretty much stopped out at the point that it started turning. I didn't want to double down. It didn't make sense because I wasn't sure how far down it could go because of the fact that you know I had no reason for it to be going up. I didn't see any catalysts. There was no alerts on any catalysts, so I kind of just bit the bullet on that one and took my little bit of a loss here. Now at the same time, let me kind of backtrack this. The reason why I got out of this trade is because I entered in at a bad point. Yeah, it's possible it could have pulled back and popped back up, but I was looking, it didn't seem like that was going to happen, especially with the fact that, the relative strength was coming down. Everything was on a downward slope as I entered in only 3 minutes or so before. So it really wasn't ideal for me to kind of keep holding this and hope. Just didn't make sense. This one I was trying to do the ride the wave strategy. And that strategy that I tried to do, obviously here didn't work. And this was like the first indication for me that it wasn't going to work was this right here. And seeing all these things starting to light up, I said, okay, time to cut it. Just try it again later on today and see what happens. And even more so if you stayed in this trade, even at the peak hours that I tell you guys to look at, like 5 a.m., you see here, this flashing green, this is showing you that this thing is not going to have any more strength until maybe the opening bell, which it did. I wasn't in it for this long. I wish I would have got back in, but at the same time too, know your support and resistance levels, guys. And this is why I tell you to do that because look at here. Let me zoom in a little bit. Sorry about that. Let me drag this bad boy up. If you looked at pre-market, which you should have, whether you would have got this alert or not, after the opening bell, you should be able to look back, look to the left, and see that hey, this was a pivotal point. This area, this 445, 450 area, is a big level of resistance. There's sellers waiting to cash out right there, you know? Um, so you would have known that was a level of resistance. You either wouldn't have taken the trade because you would have waited for the breakout, or you would have entered in probably like, during the time that the volume weighted average price crossed the exponential moving average and gave you an indicator to jump in, which would have been right here. And you would have had this on your radar because it was one of the top traded stocks in the market and, one of the volume leaders pre-market. So you would have been watching it at least, hopefully, an hour or two after the bell, because that's when things start to die down, usually after an hour or two. You guys know that from what I teach you. All right, so that's pretty much, how TKLF went. So hopefully you guys, banked on that, or if you didn't bank on that, hopefully you stayed out and saved yourself some money by not getting into it. So let's get into KSCP. Now I did both my strategies on here, both my bulling strategies. I did the ride the wave strategy first, and then I did the volume. I did the VWAP strategy second on my second trade. Obviously, the VWAP strategy gave me more of a profit because I don't know, it just decided to run for some reason afternoon. I don't know. I'm not a psychic, but again, the stock was just showing indication that it was worth staying in. So therefore, I did that. Um, but let's take a look. Both of the times that I did enter the stock, guys, too, I entered in around the same price, around the $20 mark, close to $21 mark was when I entered in both of them. So you know, to not be able to understand your own strategy can be detrimental to you as a trader. You got to understand that. So make sure you have your ducks in a row when it comes to your strategy. And all strategies aren't perfect, but at least if you have rules to that strategy, you stick to it, and you need to be monitoring your results so you know what works, what doesn't work. And it's going to be more than 1 week of testing, more than 2 weeks of testing. You're going to have to do this in and out of cycles, good good times, bad times in the market. You just got to you got to go through it. Same thing like if you were at work. You got to stick it out at work when work is slow, and you got to stick with it when it's getting busy. It's the same thing. You guys remember, this is, you're going against professionals here. Not only myself, but also other traders. So the more you can, understand that, the better you are. But let's go ahead and look at that KSPC alert. KSCP, I'm sorry. Anyways, so we got alerted it was over 21. Actually, the first alert was the volume spike here at, yeah, 1917. So for me in pre-market, it popped up. Cool. 1970. We got that alert. Boom. That's good to see. And in fact, this was actually yesterday because we had this on the watch list last night. So we seen all this last night. And I told you guys that continuation might happen. So the alert, I believe, didn't go off until about right here when it crossed the volume weighted average price. And I was already looking at it, honestly. I didn't even have to wait for the alert. I was looking at it on the charts that I usually have that I showed you guys in the other video, where I have all my charts up and I'm usually, putting the 6, 7, 8, and 9 stocks that are on the watch list on there, and I'm just watching them during pre-market. So I'm up at 5 a.m. and I'm looking at this thing. I'm like, okay, it's trending down. That's fine. It's in the bearish territory. I knew that. You guys know me. I'm a bullish trader, so I'm gonna wait to pay attention to it once it gives me a bullish indicator. Here's my bullish indicator: the exponential moving average crossing the volume weighted average price. But it gets in, and I'm like, okay, that's perfect. It's good to look at. Great, great, great. Pulls back some more. Great. I say, okay, it's time to get in this thing right now. Because it tried to pull back, but it had more strength coming here on the MACD. As you can see, the moving average stayed higher. And the squeeze pro indicator was showing that it was about to squeeze again. So I was like, okay, I can get in and, you know, quickly, you know, just ride this wave on up. And it jumped to like $23. So I quickly, snatched up that profit as quickly as I can. That was a good 12% move. Um, I was into like 20 out of like 22, but that was, like 500 shares, guys. So, I'm trading with a big amount, but still 12% of your money is not bad. Better than any return you get from a bank. So that was my quick trade right there. And I didn't want to hold it through an opening bell, so I'm not going to sit here and wait this out. We were too close to the opening bell for me to want to wait. Excuse me. I'm not going to take that chance. So that's my first trade. You see how all this stuff is clicking together. You're putting together all these little pieces to understand how the stock could potentially react, and still monitoring the price action to go ahead and, adjust your trades accordingly. If the trade goes bad, you know where to get out. If it goes good, you still know where to get out. Okay. So anyways, that was that. Then of course, opening bell, it got halted, it spiked up and came right back down. I didn't, care to look at it at this point, especially since I was already up. So that was pretty much that. Then the rest of the day just kind of, you know, died down in the beginning of the day, which I kind of expected. Even though the market was green, it was fun, it was KSPC. I mean, if you know anything about this company, Night Scopes and Robots, their IPO wasn't, that great. But more news and sentiment was coming out about it. Um, as a matter of fact, let me see here. Did we get anything? Yeah, so we have more news about it, about them demonstrating it. I mean, it's not the best of news, but it's still news nonetheless. And with it being the volume leader, all you need is an article to give it some type of catalyst for other traders to want to watch it. Okay, so understand that. The news doesn't have to be spectacular, but if it's news nonetheless, it's going to cause movement in the price action, and that's going to help you find opportunities to jump in and out of a trade. Now, for me, the second time I got into this thing, again around the $20 was right when it crossed the volume weighted average price. I told you I'm waiting for that bullish indicator, and guess what? It gave it to me. So at this point that I'm in, you know what I'm going to do? I'm already up on the trade. I'm going to go ahead and you know ride the wave. And do my, I'm sorry, not ride the wave strategy. I'm going to do my VWAP strategy. And that's pretty much it. And, it never gave me a reason to exit until I got tired, honestly. I was just, at this point, it got in right here, came in, pulled back, held support, didn't break VWAP, rolled up again. And I think at this point I got out like close to the top. It was pretty good point because I was trying to mimic exiting on the relative strength index. I figured that was going to be a peak, and I got out like right around there, and this thing just tried to curl back up and then was forced out. So, and you can kind of tell what the candlesticks are telling you. Hey, getting stopped, getting stopped, getting stopped, trying to break, getting stopped, getting stopped. It's kind of obvious at that point that it was too much of a struggle for it to break through. Um, so even though these signs right here are kind of trying to like tell you that it's going to break out again, you got to watch for level two where big buy orders or sell orders are coming through and how those are looking. And you already know you have resistance right here. So if it doesn't break if it doesn't break that previous level of resistance you just had, then go ahead and get out, take your gains. But anyways, got in, rolled, pretty much just follow the volume weighted average price, making sure it didn't break for my risk to reward, and just kept on going. I got tired of holding. I said I'm going to go ahead and take my gains. By this point, guys, I was up by like 20 something percent. It went from 20s all the way up to like 27. So I thought that was a good enough move, especially with the amount of shares I had. Obviously, if you have like less shares, it's not going to be much money to you, but still, compounding is important, guys. Don't be trying to rush every trade and get rich. Compound. Let your money compound. That's why the money that you're trading with is not supposed to be money that you care about. If you went bankrupt, who cares? It's just extra money that you had laying around doing nothing. You do not want to be trading your savings. You do not want to be trying to live off this stuff, okay? Um, until you have the ability to, to live off this stuff. But that's pretty much it, guys. Hope that recap kind of helped you identify how I looked at the trades for KSCP. Again, just to kind of recap, both my strategies worked well. Deciding which one to enter and or which strategy to use was kind of based on my entry into the trades. See, I'm really good at knowing for what I'm going to enter in on my trading strategies. Exiting is still kind of tough for me, but I know when the buying power and selling power start to lighten up, I'm going to go ahead and get out. And that takes training of the eye to watch level two, to even kind of get a sense of how the market is slowing down, certain times of the day, all that stuff you want to put together that I teach you guys in the course, okay? Um, but yeah, if you're already an experienced trader, you probably know all this stuff anyways. This is mainly for you guys who don't know or just are kind of curious as to how I'm nailing these trades, so often and so easily. And I don't need to be trading 4 or 5, times a day, if I don't have to, but, you know, to each his own. Every trader's different. So hope that helps you guys. If you have any questions, just message me, email me. But let's get ready for tomorrow. February starts another month for us. Got the little sweepstakes going. I'll put an announcement about that in the Facebook group here shortly. Um, you guys are in the chat room. You can, still enter it in as well too. It's just, extra stuff for you. But yeah, guys, if you have any questions, let me know. But until then, stay green.